Hello my dear Sun, Moon and Rising sign Libras. I am Michaela. Welcome to my astrology channel Todayenergy. This video is a monthly astrological forecast for you for the upcoming month of August, which will be quite exciting one. So at the very beginning of the month, we have a triple conjunction in the sign of Taurus between Mars, who wants decisive actions and success, and it's quite impatient. Mars conjuncts Uranus, who wants progress and jumping into the future, who wants something new and exciting, independence oftentimes. And they conjunct as well Rahu, the North karmic node, who talks about development and progress and the future as well, and magnifies everything he touches. This all is in your 8th house of passive incomes, shared resources. It concerns your spouse or partner's money, finances, income, work. It also talks 8th house about our own internal struggles, fears, traumas, the subconscious blockages, the bad habits, kind of the inner demons that hold us back, don't let us develop. And here you have a great chance to defeat them, maybe through spirituality, through referring to an astrologer, because Uranus rules astrology, maybe through working with a psychologist. You can overnight overcome your personal traumas and fears. I know it sounds crazy, but with Mars here, who is super brave and decisive and courageous, and Uranus, that is like a strike of a lightning, either on one side, some of you Libras can have some surprising, shocking news, events, something that will shake up your stability in a sense, because 8th house is the house of crisis situations. But at the same time, it might be just a way to deal with this crisis and kind of ride along with the storm, with a tornado. You know, we have this expression that if a tornado hits you, sometimes people hide, but sometimes for like especially people who do some magic or spiritual work, then you just ride it like a horse and you go along with the storm. Riders in the storm. Of course, there might be some sudden progress for your partners in their financial area. Maybe suddenly there will be news about pregnancy, because 8th house is about life and death. So oftentimes people get pregnant with activated 8th house. Of course, maybe there are news about inheritance or other sources of income that you did not work for. So something like you get the news that you receive a loan from the bank, or quite the opposite, maybe it's over, like your scholarship or something you used to rely on. Now finally you graduate, and this support is the end of it, so you have to become more independent financially. Maybe you will decide to invest in something Uranian, which might be technology, of course, cryptocurrency, for example, even though I don't think it does very well currently, does it? Right, you know, dear Libras, at the beginning of the month, your ruler Venus does a sextile to all these planets, so I'm very positive. Whatever change here, unexpected, sudden change we're talking about, it will be beneficial for you. Besides this, currently Venus is in your 10th house of work, career, of status. So really, maybe your status is changing with the fact that you will be a parent suddenly. Or suddenly you change your career, or you go to study and you receive a scholarship to study and to improve your professional skills. So it will be a chance for you. Don't miss this exciting conjunction at the beginning of the month. But then on the 7th, Mars, from your 8th house, squares Saturn, retrograde Saturn, in your 5th house in Aquarius. Now, of course, this is a bit of a stalemate energy. Those signs are fixed, so progress doesn't come so easily even when we want it. Saturn is a slow planet, indecisive oftentimes. Saturn requires double effort, especially when it's retrograde. It requires a lot of responsibilities, maturity, growing up, yeah, being an adult. And Saturn is in your 5th house of our inner child and of children overall. So maybe your children actually ask you for some financial support. So you have to take a loan because your child wants to go to some fancy university, for example. Or you want to have a child, but first you need to talk to your partner, do some examinations, prepare for some IVF procedures, in vitro procedures, for example. So Saturn is a bit of a party pooper here. He cools down the enthusiasm of Mars and Uranus, who are like, go, 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 fast, quickly. Let's invest in this, let's invest in property, right? But Saturn is like, hold the horses, think twice, 3 times even. Right? You can check my video on my channel, fully dedicated to Saturn retrograde this year. I think it's pretty important as it's lasts for several months, and Saturn will go direct again in the autumn, when there will be the final showdown, the final square between him and Uranus in your 8th house. So we have been experiencing this Saturn-Uranus square for a year and a half already, 2021, and now in the summer of 2022. It's like pushing the gas and the brakes at the same time, like wanting to move forward, and something doesn't allow us to do so. Maybe your responsibility to your children, maybe your own business, maybe you want to progress with new technologies, with cryptocurrency, in your business. Maybe it's a business related to astrology or esoterics or psychology. But Saturn being retrograde in the 5th is like blocking a little bit this progressive ideas or desires to get the loan or financiation for your hobby and business. Maybe your intimate partner is against you merging your finances, going to live together, having a child, right? So maybe the partner needs to decide where they stand at. Do they want this important step with you or not really? So yeah, Saturn in 5th is a lot of re-evaluation of romantic relationships as well. You have to be patient, dear Libras. Saturn requires hard work and patience, especially if we talk about establishing your own business. On the 4th, Mercury goes into Virgo, and that's your 12th house. So Mercury in the 12th is like inner dialogues, inner monologues, sudden insights from meditations, working with your subconscious mind, writing a diary, excellent. You can have a lot of realizations if you just write down your thoughts, you know, this kind of subconscious writing, they say, when you just like write whatever comes to your mind and then read it. Introspection, thinking about the past, doing some regressions, constellations, yeah, working with your ancestors, checking your past lives. You might go to some exotic trip somewhere far away, to some island or, you know, somewhere overseas. On the 9th, we have a bit of a tough day for you, especially because your ruler Venus opposes Pluto. Now, generally, this is a tough day for women, I would say, but, you know, because Pluto is quite pushy and controlling, manipulating. Pluto might signify violence or discoveries about those things. So, talking about you, maybe there will be revelations and sudden discoveries about you, something that you were trying to hide about yourself, especially if you're a public person. But don't fight against it, yeah, because Pluto's biggest weapon is the fear, the shame. Yeah, if someone knows about me something, then I will be in trouble, people will be laughing at me or disrespecting me. But sometimes when it comes out, and usually by Pluto, is the more you try to hide it, the more you are afraid or ashamed of something, suddenly it strikes back and comes out of the closet. So we have to be honest. Pluto wants honesty, decency, strength, willpower. So let's be strong, right? On the other hand, maybe you will feel pushed, oppressed, controlled by someone or by some institution, maybe by parents, by someone from ancestors or some like tradition that you were raised into, but now you want to give it up, escape from it. You want to progress, to move forward. Yeah, with this conjunction in your 8th house, maybe you discover something about your past, your childhood that was bothering you, and now you can name it. Now you can let go, be free of it. I say this because Venus is in your 10th house of the future, of the progress, of the public image, of public reputation, of career, of our plans, where we are headed to. And Pluto is in your 4th house of your family, of your past, of your memories, of your deep emotions. So of course Pluto can be steering up the things there, but only to give you light and green light to get back your power, meet your fears, meet something from the past that maybe you preferred until this moment to forget, but it's there in your subconscious. And this Mercury in your 12th house, everything talks about you getting autonomous, independent, free from something from the past, maybe from some parental or ancestral programs in your mind, like money are bad, I can never be rich, it's shameful to be rich, and so on, maybe, or successful, or be a businesswoman, because Pluto and Venus is the classical strong woman, business lady, women in the politics, women in government. Maybe there will be such news in the public space about that. Maybe there will be news about big financial schemes, operations, frauds by government, by mafia, by business or banks. But in your case, you can achieve a lot this day. Really, Venus and Pluto is about power, but it's about your own power, not giving it up to someone else. So you can have big career success and financial gains, maybe from property, by the way, this time, if you let go of fear. By the way, this opposition is like a full moon, which means it brings some clarity, some culmination, some news, maybe reaping rewards of something that we have started when these two planets conjunct, like a new moon. And it was between December 2021 and up until March 2022, Venus was retrograding in Capricorn, and 3 times she conjunct Pluto. So maybe last winter or this spring you started something important, or you planted the seed related to property, related to parenting, related to your parents. Maybe it's about them. Maybe they decide to get divorced, or maybe your parent find a significant other, or decide to sell a property. Yeah, something big, massive is here about property, place of living. Maybe it's about you relocating because of some job opportunity. Maybe your parents are against it, but you have to fight for your own choices and your own decisions. And finally, now you have the news, the results, already the ending possibly of this process that started back then. On the 11th, your ruler Venus goes into Leo. That's kind of cool, because before that Venus was in Cancer, which is quite vulnerable feeling for you, like this position that you are a child, you need to be with family, with loved ones, you owe something to tradition, you need to be nurturing, you're quite sensitive and emotional. But in Leo, wow, you catch up the fire of Leos. You are suddenly so bright, you can be on the scene, under the limelight. With Venus, your ruler for this month in Leo, you're like the star, you're like the leader, the boss, yeah, because Leos are quite bossy. Or you can be also childish and fun and just have joy and fun activities. Now for you, Leo is your 11th house of friendships, of social gatherings, of being popular, being famous. So you might be very active in internet, in online space now, with some blog or website, or filming videos in YouTube. Maybe you'll meet some great group of girls, of ladies, you'll join some girly club. Maybe you will invest money in some common projects, group projects, or you will earn money by collaboration with others. Maybe you'll meet love even among friends in some political or non-political organizations. On the 12th, we have a full moon at 19th degree of Aquarius. For you, now this is, let me check, this is your 5th house, right? We were talking about it at the beginning of the month. So culminations, news about children, from your children, maybe kids leave the house, go to study somewhere, or come back for holidays to visit you. Maybe it's about your creative or business projects, but the moon conjuncts Saturn, once again retrograde Saturn, asks you to rethink, restructure, try harder, put some efforts, be very, very diligent, be very responsible towards your hobby, towards your business. Maybe there will be some delays, while the lunation here is again squaring, so again activating Uranus and the North Node in your 8th house, of investments, of shared finances. So maybe there will be new business possibilities. Maybe there will be new possibilities of making business with someone else and renting together a space, or investing in something that later might pay off, but not yet, not yet. Now it's a good time to think and consider your options. Maybe it's about your intimate relationships. You are now deciding, can you trust this person next to you? Do you want to have kids together? Do you want to have family together, common household together? On the 18th, we have a great day for you, Libras, because Venus trines Jupiter. The planet of small happiness meets the planet of huge happiness and success, optimism, joy. And for you, this also links 11th and 7th houses. So you might become very successful, very popular, especially if you work with clients, with other people, if you are online. It will be fun time with your friends. You will enjoy a trip, maybe meeting someone from abroad, or just a beautiful romantic time with your partner. Maybe he will or she will decide to propose this time and you are getting engaged. On the 20th, Mars goes into Gemini. This is your 9th house. So Mars is about impatience. It's about action, drive, ambitions, motivation. So either you're motivated to study or to teach, to publish something, to become famous and popular with what you do the best. Like, become the expert for other people. Maybe you're meeting some very energetic teacher. Maybe it's about a court trial. So Mars here is to fight in the court for your right. And of course, maybe it's about impatience to travel somewhere, gather documents, do the paperwork. Mars will do here a lot of job. It's a good soldier here. But also what's important is that usually Mars spends 2 months in a sign by transit. But because he will be retrograde this autumn, overall, Mars will stay in Gemini, in your 9th house, for 7 months. This is a lot of time. This is still next year. So you have a lot of time to fight in the court, to achieve your degree. Maybe you're studying something hard, but now Mars will push you through all these studies and exams because you need this knowledge. You need this degree. Then maybe you need to become a doctor of science. So you need to write your thesis, right? To defend it, Mars, defender, and then to become like PhD, for example. So you have time to do that. Don't give up. On the 23rd, Sun goes into your 12th house. That's definitely a time to be a bit more peaceful, quiet, as much as you can, of course, with such stormy energies by Uranus around. But the Sun has a whole month before it goes to your 1st house, before you start shining, before you take the lead role, before you start inspiring everyone around you. Now it's time to take care of your health, to relax, to reevaluate the past year before your new solar year begins. Maybe it's about traveling somewhere abroad, stay in isolation, be on an island overseas somewhere. That would be lovely. Or work online, remote work. On the 24th, Uranus stations to go retrograde. Uranus is a very slow planet, so when it stations to change a direction of movement, we feel Uranian energies in the air collectively, and we feel them for about a couple of weeks, really. I would give it the second half of August is very much about intensity and impatience and tension. And, you know, Uranus is about revolutions, rebellions, strikes. It's about air traffic. It's about science, discoveries, the space, astrology. Uranus can talk about money, cryptocurrency, digital money in this case, because Taurus is about finances and earth and products. So maybe there will be disruption in supply chains, in food production, which we already experience, of course, but people will be on the verge of their nerves around the 24th. And for you, it's your 8th house. Sudden changes, life can go upside down. Maybe you'll decide that you need to study astrology, visit an astrologer who will open up your eyes for something. Maybe there will be sudden breakup with your partner, or vice versa. Suddenly there is a ring, and in 2 months there is a wedding, and there is a baby, right? Super quickly, unexpectedly. On the other hand, maybe you will decide for some investments. Uranus can be quite risky, so be careful with investing in something too volatile and unstable. Do your proper research, because then you might be a bit sorry. If we act too impulsively when Uranus is stationing, that's not the point. Yeah, it's about liberation. It's about maybe planning. How can you do the quantum leap forward? And in this case, with 8th house, maybe you're thinking how to rent your apartment so you can start getting passive income. Maybe you start think how you can become an advisor, financial IT advisor, become a freelancer, or become an astrologer even. But for now, maybe you need even to study for that, and don't do something too radical. Don't burn bridges as well. On the 26th, Mercury goes into your 1st house, which is great to enhance your communication skills, eloquence, ability to negotiate, to make deals, buy, sell, trading, online, open a blog, write, have a public speech. Also your dexterity, whatever you do manually will be prosperous the next 3 weeks, while Mercury is in your 1st house. Maybe also will prompt you to travel, to repair your vehicle, to communicate around with your neighbors or with people in the social medias. 27th, we have the new moon at 4 degrees of Virgo. This new moon squares Mars in your 9th house. And having Virgo, 12th house of the subconscious, 9th house studies. Maybe you'll study something theological or philosophical, spirituality. Maybe you will be prompted to travel somewhere on a retreat, like you would like to do Camino de Santiago or some pilgrimage, and Mars is very decided to spend a lot of energy on travels, and 12th house, new moon, some new possibilities to go abroad. Possibly you're dealing first with the documents, with visas and so on. The ruler of this new moon, Mercury, in your 1st house, trines Mars. So you will have this brilliant assertiveness, not aggressiveness. I know Libras, you usually like the peace, the balance, but this time you can be really clear with your ideology, with your ideas, with what you want from others. Mercury trine Mars is sharp mind, sharp tongue, but just as clear, clarity. Regarding travels and teaching and education as well. Maybe you will go somewhere, or you will be standing alone, isolated a bit more because you're studying online. There's so many beautiful websites now with whether free or not so expensive courses on any topic you would like to learn something new and more. And at the end of the month, important time for you, Libras, once again, 27, 28, your ruler, Venus, in Leo, in the 11th house, you shining in front of public, in front of society, in internet, being the star, being the boss, organizing others. Venus is opposing Saturn in your 5th house. Saturn, who is like You have to be responsible, you have to think about children, you have to think about your own creative projects. It's enough to do compromises with others, it's enough to organize others. Organize yourself. Maybe you need, your hobby is brilliant, but it's time to hobby to become a business. Start selling your paintings, for example. Open a website, start bidding, make people bid for what you produce, right? Maybe you are making muffins and cupcakes. Well, maybe now you should try to deliver them and sell them to people, you know? Yeah, use the internet space, use the collective, the society, 11th house, but be serious about what you want. It's not only about fun, says Saturn. If you want popularity, again, you need to work for it. And these two planets in opposition, which of course might bring you some criticism. You know, Saturn is a bit critical, it's a bit insecure, unsure. Saturn in Aquarius, of course, wants to think about the common good. But in this case, in your 5th house, it's what you can contribute to others through your creativity and uniqueness. And yeah, this is a kind of a conflict situation, maybe with someone elder, maybe with your romantic partner. And these two planets, they both square Uranus. So there is like a triangle on the sky with an apex, Uranus in Taurus, in your 8th house. So this need to change internally. This need to get rid of your own personal fears, insecurities, like will I be a good teacher? Will I be a good parent? Am I ready to have children now? Am I ready to go as a freelancer? Am I ready to open my own business, right? So Uranus in 8th house ultimately wants you to have your huge inner psychological liberation and transformation in order for you to embrace fully your talents, your creativity, and make the best out of your love life, hobbies, establish proper relationship with your children, invite children into your life, become pregnant, right? On the other hand, maybe we're talking purely about finances, and Uranus here wants you to take the credit, maybe even a credit online, but be reasonable. Saturn here asks you to be reasonable, not to jump into something that looks good, but then you will be tied to repay this loan, this credit for like many, many years. Will you be able to do that? Don't worry, the final resolution, as I said before, might come ultimately this autumn once Saturn becomes direct and once the square between him and Uranus is easing up, separating. So, dear Libras, thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing my videos. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I already observe how our small community slowly but surely does grow, which makes me, of course, very, very happy as a professionalist. I wish you a beautiful, wonderful August, full of joy, love, liberation. Everything that happens is for your own good. Remember this, be strong. There is always people and angels who are supporting you in your beautiful transformation. Take care of yourself, dear Libras, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.